fantastic thing happened today. How can I put it? Would anybody believe that I actually saw two? I got up rather late. The clock had already struck 10. I dressed and left in a hurry.
Wish I hadn't gone to the office at all today. I knew the sour look I'd get from the chief clerk. For months now, he's been saying to me, "Look, mister." That's how he talks to me, "Look, mister. What kind of nonsense are you stuffing into your head? You rush about like a house on fire. Your work is in such a state of confusion that the devil himself couldn't put it straight." Miserable crow. He's jealous of me because I was chosen to go to our director's house one day a week to sharpen His Excellency's pens. I wouldn't have gone to the office at all if I... It's my landlady, Marva. Bitch. As I was saying, I wouldn't go there at all if it hadn't been that I wanted to see the cashier so that I could ask the old miser for a small advance on my salary. You could wait till Judgment Day before he'd give you a penny. Even if you're starving to death, you could beg till something bursts inside you and he wouldn't give in. Hunchback little monster. Yet at home, his own cook slaps him around. Everybody knows that. I can't see the advantage of working in our department anyway. Salary's miserable, you know, side benefits, whatever. It's not like working, say, in the provinces. Now there, it's quite a different story. There you'll see some fellow scribbling away, all squeezed up in a corner somewhere. His shirt will be filthy. It'll be so ugly you could spit on him. Then just take a look at the house he rents for his summer vacation. And if you're going to give him a gift, it better be something more substantial than a gilded china cup. He'd laugh at you. What he expects is a pair of pedigreed horses, maybe, or a carriage, or a coat made of the most expensive furs. It was pouring rain outside. I put on my coat, took my umbrella. The streets were practically deserted, except for a tart who was running along with her skirt pulled up over her head. A few merchants under umbrellas and an office messenger here and there. As for decent people, there was only myself and another government clerk. I saw him crossing the street, and I thought to myself, don't tell me you're going to the office, my friend. You're after that one trotting ahead over there, and it's her ample behind you're staring at. When it comes to picking up anything in a skirt, your civil servant will put a sailor to shame. I was standing there watching him run along when suddenly a carriage drove up. I recognized it at once. It belonged to the director of our department himself. But he wouldn't be shopping this time of day. I thought it must be his daughter. It must be her. The footman threw open the carriage door, and there she was. Out she fluttered like a little bird. She looked to the right, to the left, and she swept past me. Oh, my God, I'm lost. She didn't recognize me, though. Anyway, I was trying to hide. My coat is shabby. It's out of fashion, too. This is the place. This is one. Just then, her little dog, who'd been following her out of the carriage, was too late to get through the shop door before it closed, so she was left outside. Now, I know her, too. Her name is Maggie. Just then, I heard a thin little voice say, "Good morning, Maggie." I turned around and I saw two ladies coming along under an umbrella. One was old, and the other one was young. Behind them was another little dog. They just passed me when I heard it again. "Shame on you, Maggie. Why have you deserted me?" I looked down, and there was Maggie and this other little dog that had been following the two ladies, sniffing at one another. I'll be damned. I thought I must be drunk. But that doesn't happen to me very often. Just then I saw Maggie lift up her head. I saw her with my own eyes. She lifted up her head and she said, "No, Fidel, you mustn't say such things. I've been very, very sick." I know how strange that sounds. I admit that I was surprised to hear her talking like a human being. The more I thought about it, though, the less surprised I was. As a matter of fact, a number of similar cases have been reported recently in different parts of the world. In England, apparently, a fish put its head out of the water and uttered a few words in such a strange language that scientists have been trying for 3 years now to figure it out. So far, they're baffled. Then, too, I was reading in the newspaper about 2 cows who went into a shop and ordered a pound of tea. That probably burned that. But you must have read that. I must confess, I was even more surprised when I saw Maggie turn to this other little dog, whose name I gathered was Fidel, and say that she'd even written letters to her, but that apparently someone by the name of Fido had forgotten to deliver them. I know. I've never heard of a dog who could write either. Only gentlemen can write. I know that. Of course, there are a few merchants and some politicians and some of the lower classes who scribble sometimes, but you can hardly call that writing. I mean, no commas or periods even. I must follow that dog, I thought, find out what her views are. I put up my umbrella and followed the 2 ladies. We crossed over to Peapod Street, then on to Merchants Avenue. Finally, we stopped before a large house near Cuckoo Bridge. I know that house. All sorts of people live there. Cooks, foreigners, tradesmen. They're teams with my fellow government clerks. They swarm there like dogs, one on top of the other. I know a gentleman who lives there. He plays the piano quite well. The ladies climbed to the 4th floor. Good. I thought I won't go in now, but I'll make a note of the place and wait for the first opportunity. I must confess that for some time now I've been seeing and hearing things that no one else has ever seen or heard before.
October 4th. Today was Wednesday, so that's why I went to the director's house. I came early on purpose, settled down, and sharpened all His Excellency's pens.
No pen can describe what happened next. About 1:30, the door opened. And there she was. Sophie. Holy saints, how she was dressed, all in white, like a swan. When she looked at me, I swear it was like the sunshine. It was like the sun. She nodded to me. She said, "Has Papa been here?" I wanted to say, What I wanted to say was, is there anything I might do for you? You need only ask it. There is nothing I wouldn't do for you, nothing. That's what I wanted to say. I only nodded my head and said, no, ma'am. And then she was gone.
You, clerk! Are you still here? Go home. The master has gone out.
Damn servants. A flunky is the one thing I cannot stand. They sprawl about in their chairs in the entrance hall. They don't so much as acknowledge my presence with a little nod. Once, one of those clods actually offered me his tobacco pouch without getting up from his seat. You stupid flunky. Don't you know that I'm a civil servant? That I come from a respectable family? I could have you whipped. I could. I could have him whipped.
October 8th. Today, I spent all day at the window watching people pass by. It was a rainy October day. Last night, I went to the director's house and waited outside for a long time, hoping that she would come out and get into her carriage. She didn't come.
Without you, my darling. Without you, my darling. Without you, my darling. Without you, my darling. 1 hour crept. Without you, my darling, 1 hour crept. Without you, my hour crept. To me, 'twas like a year. Without you, my darling, 1 hour crept. To me, 'twas like a year. Without you, my darling, crept. Oh, how can I go on? I wept. Can I go on? I wept. But if you cannot be near, Sounds like Pushkin. Damnation. I'm very angry with the chief clerk. I went to the office. He called me in.
Clerk! You, mister! Would you mind telling me just what you're doing?
What do you mean? I'm not doing...
Now, see here. You're over 35 now. It's time you got some sense. You think I don't know about your tricks? You're after the director's daughter. Just look at yourself. Who do you think you are? You're just a zero. You're nothing. Less than nothing. You haven't a penny to your name. Look in the mirror. Look! Look! How can you even think of such a thing?
Damn him. I can see through him. I know why he hates me. It's envy, pure envy. He sees how the director favors me. He's jealous. So he's the chief clerk. So what? With his watch and a gold chain and his handmade boots. Maybe he imagines that I'm a nobody. Maybe he thinks that my father was a dishwasher or a janitor. I'm a gentleman. There's no reason why I shouldn't be promoted to. I'm only 34, the threshold of a career. You wait, my friend, you just wait. I'll go higher than you yet. God willing, very, very much higher. Then I'll have a social position beyond his dreams. Does he think he's the only one to have dignity? Give me a well-tailored suit and a silk cravat like his, and he won't be good enough to clean my boots. I'll show him these boots. I'll give him these boots to clean. I'd like to see his face when he sees these. My lack of means, that's the only trouble. Poverty, that's my cross.
November 8th. I went to the theater tonight. I saw a very funny play about my favorite clown, Falatka. I especially enjoyed the vaudeville show that followed. There were some very funny skits lambasting lawyers.
I don't know how they got past the censors. As for politicians, they said quite plainly that they do nothing but swindle the public, that they wallow in lust and try to push their way into high society. There was even a sketch condemning newspaper critics, and the actors asked the audience for protection from them. Playwrights write very daring plays nowadays. I love going to the theater. Hello, Falatka. You were very brave tonight, my friend. Why? It's very risky to speak so freely these days. Don't you know that? If you're not careful, you'll be retired in your prime. I did like the sketch about the chief clerk, though. The one where the director fired him for being so unfair to his fellow workers. Such a cut from life. Reminded me of our chief clerk. That one. He wouldn't go to the theater. Even if you gave him free tickets, he wouldn't go. If I have even a penny in my pocket, I can't resist going. How I envy actors. When I was a boy, my mother always used to say that I should be an actor. Such imagination, she used to say. My mother was so fine and gentle. What a lady she was. What? He was a gentleman, my father. He was a gentleman. What do you know about it anyway? Your father was a stick and your mother was a mattress cover. Your generation begins and ends with you, you impotent little bedpost sitter. Don't cry, damn it. Listen, don't cry. I want to tell you something. It's a secret. Do you know that the chief clerk has a donkey for a father and a street-walking mongrel for a mother? That's why he brays like a jackass and behaves like a whore. What? The actress who sang tonight? What about her?
Yes, she was. She was very beautiful. She didn't remind me of anyone.
Who should she remind me of? Why should she remind me of her? Don't think things like that. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Stop that. Stop it!
November 9th. November 12th. I wonder what her bedroom is like. If only I could be alone with her there, to see her, to...
Oh, my God, my God. Must be more like paradise there than heaven itself. Oh, little jars and bottles all standing there. Flowers so delicate you don't dare breathe on them. Little dress she just slipped off lying there. Oh, light, fill me.
More like air than a dress. What I wouldn't give just to see the tiny stool where she puts her little foot when she gets out of bed. How she pulls on the snowy white stockings. Up, up, up.
Magic? Magic? Come on, Magic. Here, Magic. Come on. Wait. Look. Look, Magic. See? Look. Come on. Magic, look. Come on. Come on. Here, look. Look, there. See? There, Magic. Look. See, we're all alone now. No one can see us. I want you to tell me all about your mistress, what she's like and all that. You share all of her little secrets, don't you? But does she talk about me? Maggie? No one is watching us. I swear I won't repeat a word to anyone. Here, look. Does she talk about me? Maggie? 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 Crafty creatures, dogs. They notice everything. Yes. For a long time now, I've suspected that dogs are far more intelligent than men. I was even certain that they could speak, but simply chose not to out of some peculiar stubbornness. I must get hold of that dog's letters. They'll tell me all I need to know about my SOFI and her papa, our director. Dogs have their own political views on everything. I really must get hold of her letters. I climbed to the 6th floor. I knocked at the door. Out came a girl. She was covered with pimples. She wasn't too bad looking, though. I recognized her at once. She was the one who was following me that day with the other lady, the old one. She blushed a little. I could see right away what her trouble was. What you need, my girl, is a man. What do you want, she asked. I want to have a talk with your doggie. The girl was stupid. I could tell from the start how stupid she was. Just then, the miserable mutt ran in. Where are those letters? Don't you dare bite my leg, you bitch. Uh-huh. Too late now, little mutt. I've got them now, little mutt. It's too late now. That girl must have taken me for a madman. She seemed terribly frightened. These letters will reveal everything. This is really quite legible. There's a certain dogginess about it. Dear Fidel, I still find it difficult to get accustomed to your name. It is so middle class. Couldn't they find a better one for you? But all this is beside the point. I'm so glad we've decided to write to each other. Well, this is really very well written. The spelling is very good. Even the punctuation is correct. The chief clerk couldn't write like this, for all his talk of a university education. It seems to me that to share one another's thoughts, feelings, and impressions is one of the greatest blessings in this world. Oh, well, she stole that thought. That's from a work translated from the German. I forget the title. I speak from experience, although I've never been much further than the gates of our house. But then isn't my life full of contentment? My young mistress, whom her papa calls Sophie, is crazy about me. Ouch. Never mind now the word silence. Papa often pets me, too. I am given tea and coffee with cream. I must tell you, my dear, that I'm not in the least bit tempted by those big, clumsy bones that Fido eats in the kitchen. Personally, I only like the bones of game, and even then only if the marrow hasn't been sucked out by someone else. What I hate is people who give dogs those little pellets they mold out of bread. Some person sitting at the table who may have been touching all sorts of nasty things with his hands starts molding scraps of bread, then calls you and stuffs them into your mouth. It would be impolite to refuse. Of course, you have to eat it. No matter how repulsed you are, you have to eat. Ah, damn nonsense. Can't she think of anything better to write about? Now, I will tell you with pleasure what goes on in this household. I've already mentioned the main character whom Sophie calls Papa. He's a very strange man. At last. They have political views on everything, dogs. Let's see what she has to say about Papa. Very strange man. For the most part, he says nothing, but last week he never stopped talking to himself. Shall I get it or not? Shall I get it or not? Once he even asked me, what do you think, Madgie? Shall I get it or not? I couldn't for the life of me understand what he meant, so I sniffed his boots and left the room. And then a week later, Papa came home beaming with happiness. All that morning, gentlemen in uniform were arriving to congratulate him on something. At dinner, Papa was happier than I'd ever seen him before. And after dinner, he picked me up and he held me level with his chest and he said, look, Madgie, what do you think this is? I saw some sort of ribbon. I sniffed at it, but couldn't discover any smell at all. Finally, I licked it. It was a bit salty. Oh, this mutt really goes too far. What she needs is a good beating. So Papa is that vain, is he? I must make a note of that. Goodbye, my dear. I really must run along now. Blah, 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 blah. I will finish this letter tomorrow. Good night, Madgie. Well, good morning. Here I am again. Today, my mistress, Sophie. Sophie, you damnation. Ooh. I really am a devil. Today, my mistress, Sophie, was in an extraordinary turmoil. She was getting ready for a ball. She is nearly always angry, though, when she is being dressed. I simply cannot understand what satisfaction is afforded by going to a ball. Sophie arrives home at 6 in the morning, and I nearly always can tell by her pale and emaciated appearance that they have given her nothing to eat. The poor dear. If they wouldn't give me my sauce and hazel grouse and hot chicken wings, I don't know what would become of me. Her style is very jerky. She starts off all right, then she lapses into dogginess. See. This is a long one. There's no date on this one either. Oh, my dear, how strongly I sense the approach of spring. My heart beats all the time as if it were expecting something or someone. There's a constant ringing in my ears. I often stand for minutes at a time with one leg in the air. Confidentially, I have plenty of suitors. I often sit in the window and watch them pass by. What freaks some of them are. There's one horribly coarse and dumb mongrel with stupidity written all over his face. He swaggers up and down the street. I suppose he imagines he's a celebrity and that everyone shares that view. Hardly. Naturally, I pay no attention to him, but don't imagine, my dear, that my heart is indifferent to all overtures. You should see one young man who crawls under our fence. His name is Treasure. Oh, my dear, you should see him. He's got the sweetest little snout. Ah, damn nonsense. Her letter's going to be filled with this stupid stuff. I'm after people, not dogs. I want spiritual food, and I'm fed this rubbish instead. Oh. Sophie was sitting at the table sewing. I was looking out of the window. I like to watch people passing by. Suddenly, the flunky came in and announced someone. "Show him in," Sophie said. She hugged me hard, murmured, "Oh, Madgie, darling, wait till you see him. He's a guards officer with such eyes, black and lustrous like a flame." She ran off to her room. A minute later, a young officer with black sideburns came in and walked up to the mirror, smoothed his hair, and looked around the room. I growled a little and stayed where I was. Sophie came back soon. I pretended to be busy looking out of the window as though I had noticed nothing. In fact, however, I kept my head cocked a bit to one side, trying to overhear what they were saying. Oh, my dear, what rubbish they talked. Oh, no, I said to myself, this officer can't compare to my Treasure. Heavens, what a difference. In the first place, the officer's face was broad and absolutely smooth with sideburns all around it, just as though he'd tied it up with a black scarf, while my Treasure has a delicate little pointed snout and a little white spot in the middle of his forehead. As for his waist, oh, what a difference. I simply can't understand, my dear, what on earth Sophie sees in her officer and why he has so enraptured her. Well, here I tend to agree. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely inconceivable that this man could have swept her off her feet. Seems to me that if she likes this officer, we will be hearing next that she is fascinated by that peculiar little clerk who sits in Papa's study. Oh, my dear, if only you could see what a freak he is. He looks a bit like a turtle caught in a bag. Which clerk can that be? He always sits sharpening pens. He has a huge nose and his shaggy hair looks as though it could stand a good washing. Papa sends him on errands like a servant. Sophie simply can't control her laughter when she sees him. Rotten, lying dog. What a filthy mouth. As if I didn't know who was behind all this. It's a cheap clerk. You can see how that man has sworn undying hatred for me. He's trying to hurt me. To hurt me at every turn. Persecutes me. Persecutes me. My dear Fidel, forgive me for not writing to you for such a long time. I've been going around in absolute ecstasy. Some writer or other said that love is a second life, and I agree. Moreover, a lot of things have been happening in our household. The officer comes every day now. SOFI is madly in love with him. Papa's quite cheery. I even heard our Gregory, the one who always talks to himself while sweeping the floor, say that there will soon be a wedding because Papa is absolutely set on seeing SOFI married to an army officer or a general or a politician. I can't read any more of that. It's always like that. An army officer, a general, a politician, they get all the best things in this world. You discover a crumb of happiness. You reach out for it, and along comes an army officer, a general, and snatches it away right from under your very nose. I'd like to become a general myself. Not just to win her hand in marriage, either. No, I'd like to become a high official so that I could pull the strings. I'd watch them dangle up and down for my benefit. I'd listen a while to their stupid talk and their filthy jokes, and then I'd tell them what they could do with themselves. And I'd spit on a lot of them.
December 3rd.
Can't be a wedding. It can't be a wedding. What if he's a guards officer? Why can't I be a guards officer? Clerk. Why should I be a clerk? Maybe I'm really a general or a count and only appear to be a clerk. There are plenty of cases in history where somebody quite ordinary, not necessarily an aristocrat, some middle-class person, perhaps even a peasant, suddenly turns out to be a public figure. Or perhaps even a ruler of a country. If a peasant can turn into something so important, what might not a man of breeding turn out to be? Yes. Imagine, for instance, me suddenly walking into the director's study in a general's uniform, an epaulet on my left shoulder, one on my right, a blue ribbon in between. How would that be? What song would my lady sing then? And Papa himself, our director, what would he say? Oh, he's so vain. That metal lover. He's a Mason. Make no mistake about that. He claims to be this or that. I say he's a Mason. I noticed from the first that when he shakes hands, he only sticks out 2 fingers. What is a director, anyway? Army officer. Only a title. You can't touch it with your hand. An army officer doesn't have an extra eye in the middle of his forehead. His nose isn't made of gold. He uses it for sneezing, not for coughing. For smelling, not for copulation. It's just like mine or anyone else's. Yes. But I'd like to know. I'd like to know. But I'd like to know. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. What I'd like to know is. What I'd like to know is. Why am I a clerk? Why precisely a clerk? Why can't I be an army officer? Or a colonel, or a politician? It could be
Could be I don't know who I am.
strange things are happening in Spain. I can't even make them out properly. They say that the throne is vacant, that there's difficulty in electing a successor. That sounds very strange to me. I mean, how can a throne be vacant? They say some noble woman is to ascend the throne. A woman can't ascend the throne. She simply can't. That's absolutely impossible. Only a king should sit on a throne. In the first place, England won't stand for it. Then, too, we must keep in mind the political climate of the rest of Europe. The Emperor of Austria, our leader, the throne must have a king to occupy it. Yet they say there is no king. Now, that can't be. I mean, how can there be a kingdom without a king? The king exists. Only he must be in hiding somewhere. It's even possible that he's there in Spain, but that he's being forced to remain in concealment for some family reasons, or for fear of some neighboring country such as France, or there may be other reasons.
December 6th.
Señor, está dado meso. Señor, persona. Ole. Sino. Milione. There we go. Ole. I simply cannot get the affairs of Spain out of my mind. 2000 A.D., April 43rd. Spain has a king. It is absolutely incredible to me now that I could have imagined that I was a civil service clerk. For such a thought, a man could be committed to a lunatic asylum. Up until now, everything's been in such a mist. Now I see everything clearly. The revelation came to me like a flash of lightning. But what was happening to me before? Now I know that all troubles start because people believe that human brains are located in the head. They are not. They're blown in by the wind from somewhere around the Caspian Sea. I began by telling my landlady, Marva, who I was. When she heard that the King of Spain was standing before her, she nearly died of fright. Marva! She's frightened. Be reassured, Marva, my feelings are benevolent. I'm not in the least bit displeased with you for having placed me in such miserable surroundings for all these years. She probably thinks that all kings of Spain are like Philip II. Hardly. There's very little resemblance between me and Philip. In the first place, I don't have a single monk in my court. Don't be worried, Marva. I'm not angry with you for having given me such a meager supply of coal every winter. For the filth I've had to endure. For the rats you wouldn't pay to get rid of. Don't be frightened, my child. Now that's how to talk to the lower classes.
Martober 85th.
Clerk, you haven't been to the office for 3 weeks. Your desk is overflowing with work. Get busy.
I decided to go for a lark. The chief clerk expected me to come apologizing to him, but I just looked at him in a detached sort of way. Not too angrily, not too graciously either. And I sat down in my usual place. I looked around at all those pen-pushing flunkies, and I thought, if you only knew who was sitting in your midst. Great God, what a fuss they'd make. The chief clerk himself, he'd start bowing to me from the waist, the way he bows to the director. In a few minutes, there was a general commotion. The director was coming. Most of the clerks ran forward, hoping that he would notice them. I stayed right where I was. What amused me the most was when someone put a paper in front of me to sign. They expected, no doubt, that I would put my signature at the very bottom of the page, so-and-so clerk in charge of such and such table. In the very central space, reserved for the director himself, I wrote, Ferdinand VIII, King of Spain. You should have heard the silence that followed. I only waved my hand. I don't expect any signs of allegiance. Then I went straight to the director's home. A flunky tried to stop me at the door, but I spoke to him in such a way that he almost sank into the ground. And I went straight to her bedroom. She was sitting in front of her mirror. When I came in, she got up and she stood back. Still, I didn't tell her that I was the King of Spain. I simply said that she couldn't imagine the happiness that was in store for her, such as she'd never dreamed of before, and that in spite of the intrigues of our enemies, that we would be united. I didn't want to say any more, so I left. Shh. Women are such crafty creatures. Only now do I understand what a woman is really like. Until today, no one knew who it is a woman really loves. I'm the first to discover it. Woman is in love with the devil. Yes, quite seriously. Physicians write all sorts of drivel saying she is this or that, but she loves nothing but the devil. You can see it everywhere. Even in a theater, you'll see it. Some woman in a balcony looking through opera glasses. You think that she's looking at the fat rich man in the front row, the one with the stubby manicured hands and the diamond stick pin and the greasy hair, but she isn't. She's looking at the devil who's hiding behind the fat rich man. Then he hides in the fat man's coat and he makes signs to her. And she'll marry him, sure enough. And all her sons, fathers, holders of office, all you who curry favor everywhere and fawn on everyone and insinuate yourself into society and call yourselves patriots, it's power and wealth you're after. You'd sell your mother, father, God, and country for money. You strutting betrayers of Christ! But all of this is caused by ambition. Ambition is caused by a tiny bubble under the tongue. And in this bubble is a small worm, no bigger than a pin's head. And all this was made by a barber who lives in Peapod Street. I forget his name, but I know for a fact that in league with a certain midwife, he is trying to spread Mohammedanism all over the world. And I'm told that even now in France, the majority of the people have adopted the Mohammedan faith.
No date, dateless. What? No. No. I went walking incognito along the avenue. The emperor drove past. Everyone bowed their heads. So did I. I gave no indication that I was the King of Spain. I thought it would be beneath me to reveal my identity there in front of all those people. It would be far more proper to be presented at court first. What's prevented me so far is the fact that I have no Spanish national costume. If only I could get hold of a royal mantle somewhere. A royal mantle is absolutely indispensable.
I was going to have a tailor make one up for me, but they're not to be trusted. They're so stupid. They're not interested in their craft nowadays, anyway. They're so busy speculating that most of them end up as garbage collectors. I'm waiting for my deputation from Spain. I wonder what's keeping them. I went to the post office to see if there'd been any word from the Spanish delegation. But the postmaster is a stupid fool. He knows nothing. No, he said, we don't have any Spanish delegates around here. If you want to mail a letter, we'll accept it. What the hell is he talking about? What letter? It would be improper for me to go without my delegates. My dignity would be cheapened. expecting them at any minute.
The first, 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 the first. The 101st.
Swine! Why are you afraid? I am your king! Civil servants are such pigs, such groveling infection. Listen, you people. Come with me. Our opportunity is now. Delay and darkness will surround us all. This is a day of great jubilation. The day of my triumphant return. There is no nation, no throne without my scepter. Attend to me. Attend to me. I am your king. The throne is mine, and mine is the kingdom, and I shall deliver you with these hands. Obey me. Obey me. Obey me! Here I am in Spain. It all happened so quickly, I hardly had time to realize it. The Spanish delegation arrived for me, and we all got into the same carriage. The speed of the journey was extraordinary. Within half an hour, we were at the Spanish border. Travel for royalty is unbelievably fast. Strange country, this Spain. In the first room we entered, there were a number of people with shaven heads. Oh, monks! The behavior of the Lord Chancellor struck me as rather strange. He took me by the arm and he threw me into this room and he said, "If you don't stop calling yourself King Ferdinand, I'll beat the nonsense out of you." Then he struck me 3 times on the back with a stick. Why? Why? Yes, this must be some kind of initiation for returning royalty. Listen. I must occupy myself with public affairs. I have discovered that Spain and China are one and the same country. If they're still considered to be separate countries, then that's only due to sheer ignorance. I recommend that you try to write Spain on a piece of paper. You will find that you've written China. I've also given much thought to a sad event that must occur. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock, the Earth will mount the moon. The celebrated English chemist Wellington affirms this in his writing. Listen, I'm greatly concerned for the moon. It's so soft and tender and innocent. The moon, of course, was made by that lame fool in Hamburg. I must say he did a miserable job. He didn't have the slightest notion of how a moon should be made. That fool put in tarred rope and 1 part lamp oil. And that produced such a god-awful stench over the earth that we have to hold our noses. And that's why the moon is such a tender sphere that people can't live there, only noses. And that's why we can't see our own noses, because they are all there on the moon. Yes! Oh my God! Listen, we must save the moon. When I think of what a heavy thing the Earth is, it will smash our noses into mush. Soldiers! Generals! Lord Chancellor! Government clerks! We must save the moon! We must save the moon. save the moon. We must save the moon!
Forever, 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 forever. The 25th.
Help.
February, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, my God. The things they're doing to me. What have I done to you? I can't bear this anymore. Why do you torture me? What do you want from me in my misery? I have nothing. Ah, my head is burning. Everything's whirling about. Ah! Ah! God. God, help me. Take your kingdom, God. I don't want it. Is that Italy I see? Russia. Is that my home in the distance? Mother? 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 Did you know that the Prince of Algiers has a wart just under his nose? Listen. I won't need you anymore.